Loneliness after 60 doesn't always look like being alone. A lot of people stay busy, get out of the house, and still feel disconnected in a way they can't quite explain. Sound like you? So today as I walk, I want to talk about loneliness after 60. What it really looks like, why it happens, and how I think about it now. Hi, I'm Kevin. I'm out for a walk today, and I want to talk honestly about loneliness after 60, because it's something many people experience, even if they don't talk about it, right? I'm not a doctor, not a lawyer, and this isn't advice. I'm just sharing what I've noticed and what helps me as I try to live well in my 60s. So, the problem. Why loneliness shows up after 60? The problem with loneliness after 60 is that it's often misunderstood. That's right. People think loneliness means being isolated or having no one around. But that's not always true. Loneliness is more about lack of connection. Need to make more connections. Not lack of people. You got people, a lot of people around. You know, you always see the zombie movies where there's nobody. There's a Will Smith movie that he is just alone and it's driving him crazy. And if only he had the interaction of just one or two people, he would feel better. Just one person might change his loneliness. So it's all to a degree. So one reason this shows up after 60 is retirement. Isn't it right? Retirement. You know, the time when you're working. Most people spend decades around work. They might even be I was in an industry where, you know, I was a salesperson for advertising for, you know, a media company. Media companies. I work for many media companies. And you know, even though I left a job, I still was in the same industry as the people that I left. So I still kept in contact with them. You know, so it was a different story. Most people spend decades around work, not just the job, but the people. You see them regularly, talk often, solve problems together, and share a similar mindset. You know, the people, the AE people that I hung around, we all had that one mindset that we were, you know, there to sell advertising. We all had a common goal. Then work ends. And for many people, those work friendships quietly disappear. Not because anything went wrong, but because the structure that held them together is no bueno. So it's actually very common to never talk with most work friends again after retirement. It's true. Other connections fade too. Other types of relationships changes as well. Kids grow up, move away and build their lives of their own. You know, that's the one that hit me the hardest, I think, is, you know, you raise a child. I spent so much time with my child, you know, and spent, you know, taking them from one activity to the other. And I was basically a taxi service and taken from here to there and here to there. Loved it. Miss it. Don't have that now that, you know, the child can drive. The child's an adult now, has her own house, her her own, living arrangements, and I'm barely in the picture. Barely. I mean, she makes an effort. She always goes out to dinner and, hangs out with us and stuff. So, but it's far and few between. It's not like that. So you may still be close, but the day-to-day interactions are gone. Neighbors move. Shared activities stop with others. And we get older, and as we get older, people also pass away. Friends, co-workers, family members. That's a normal part of this stage of life, but it still reduces the number of familiar connections with us. If this feels familiar, you're not alone. This happens to a lot of people. I'm actually at the park now. I always usually try to walk to the park. Look how gigantic that mountain is. And a beautiful little park in the neighborhood. So, how I think about it now, how I think about loneliness now, I separate being alone from feeling lonely. Being alone isn't automatically a problem. Feeling lonely is, right? So I've learned to notice the difference between choosing solitude and feeling disconnected. And they're not the same thing. I don't expect loneliness to fix itself. At this stage of life, loneliness doesn't usually just go away on its own. Waiting for people, routines, or circumstances to return how they used to be usually leads to more frustration. I think of connection as something I gently participate in, not something I wait for. I focus on consistency, not big social moments. I've noticed that consistent, simple interactions matter more than occasional big plans. It's like with my daughter. Like tomorrow is her birthday. So, when in Vegas, we usually go to have, dinner. Her and her boyfriend are coming. And then we're going to probably gamble. I always put in like $20 for my daughter. And, we play. I just watch her. My wife likes to, play the slot machines too. So focus in on consistency, not big social moments. I am blessed that I have family who actually wants to be with me. I'm lucky to have, at this stage of my life, I am blessed to have my daughter interact with me. Especially the girl that I took everywhere, did everything for. I always made sure she had the cutest little outfits and stuff like that. Now, I'm talking, my wife did all that stuff as well. I don't want you thinking that wasn't the case, but like I'm the only hero in the family. That's not true. But focus in on consistency, not big social moments. So I love it that she's consistent with me and my wife, and she goes out with us occasionally. I've noticed that consistent, simple interactions matter more than occasional big plans. Small, repeated contacts often does more than crowded rooms or special events. I have someone in the back of my mind right now, close friend of mine. She's been in videos that I did, and I haven't been spending enough time with her lately. So she's a close friend of mine. I used to work with her at the television station. So yeah, there are other situations like that. I got a buddy of mine that he's still working. So he's busy, and I just have to accept that fact. So if loneliness is something you're noticing, here are a few practical ways to approach it. Put yourself where casual interactions already exist. And start, instead of trying to make friends or force social situations, put yourself in places where light, natural interaction already occurs. That might be a regular walking routine, which I see people and talk to people now a lot, being out and walking. I'm the kind of person that will walk up to someone and say hi, you know, so want to be my friend? you want to be my friend? Be my friend. So yeah, that might be a regular walking route, the same grocery store or coffee shop, a place you go at roughly the same time. Maybe it's the grocery store. Maybe it's Starbucks. You don't need deep conversations. Just being seen and seeing familiar faces matters more than we realize. I'm telling you, it's just like that Will Smith movie. He didn't have anybody. He was the only person alive in that movie. Yeah, I forget what movie is, but I'll mention it here shortly so you can have it. So yeah, he didn't have anybody, and he would have been blessed if he had just one person. You know, I think it was a zombie movie, so he was actually had some interaction, but they were usually with zombies, and he was trying to cure them. So good movie. Yeah, the movie is called I Am Legend. Will Smith, very few actors, but a bunch of zombies and maybe one or two other people. One person that I can always remember. So I Am Legend, watch it. If you want to see what pure loneliness is and watch somebody go truly crazy for not having anybody around, watch that movie. So you don't need deep conversations. Just being seen and seeing familiar faces matter more than we realize. Reduce passive isolation. Loneliness often grows during long stretches of passive time. You know, scrolling your iPad, your iPhone, TV, all the series, or being alone without interactions. Try replacing a small part of that time with something that puts you around people, right? Quit. Man, in Las Vegas, you can go to a casino. There's people out all times of the night. You know, things like walking outside instead of staying in. That's what I do. I don't really feel lonely. I do have some loneliness, but you know, I'm very blessed that I have my wife, you know, kids. So other things you can do, doing an errand in person instead of online. Try going to the DMV. There are scores of people there. You know, meet a friend. I always said, and everybody says it to me, Kevin, when you're standing in line at the DMV, you know everybody around you. And that's pretty much true. I love people. I love to talk to people. If I was in Will Smith's place, that would be extremely horrible for me. I would die a cruel death. So, presence alone helps. Presence alone helps. You don't even need to talk much. Now, here's a practical exercise. Write down where connections already exist. Take a piece of paper, write it down, the people, places, or routines where you already feel some connection. Then look for one small way to show up more consistently. You don't need a lot, just build on what's already there. Yep, just build on what's already there. See, people out walking all day long. It's fun. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Excellent.
Good.
You?
Yeah, good.
Good.
Hi, I'm Kevin. Loneliness after 60 doesn't mean something is wrong with you. Maybe. It usually means life has changed. Work ends, kids grow up, people move on, some pass away. For me, connection comes from consistency, small interactions, and choosing to stay gently engaged in everyday situation and scenarios. So this is how I think about it. Take what helps, leave the rest as far as my videos are concerned, and stick with me. Thanks for walking with me today. I'll see you on the next walk. Yeah, it's beautiful today. It's a little overcast. But not by much. It's going to be a beautiful day. I got a number of errands I got to run, so got to stay busy. So stick with me.